Did you know that windows in a loft conversion can make or break the project? And many homeowners discover this too late in the process. New roof windows that overlook the neighbours can get planning permission refused. The building regulations set minimum and maximum amounts of daylight, and sometimes they demand a window you can escape from in a fire. Stay tuned, because some of these rules pull in opposite directions. I'm going to show you how to design around them before they cost you money. My name is Neil, and this is Real Life Architecture. I've run my own architecture practice in Edinburgh since 2009, and I specialise in altering, extending and renovating private homes. This video is made in partnership with VELUX, and I'm filming at their UK headquarters in Glenrothes. If you're considering a loft conversion and want to understand what the planners and the building regulations actually require, this is the video for you. If you want to skip ahead, there are chapter timestamps below. Let's get started. Minimum and maximum natural light. There is a wonderful variety of homes in towns and cities across the UK. Medieval, Georgian, Victorian, Edwardian, post-war and new build houses all have different roofs. No two loft conversions are the same, which makes them interesting to talk about and tricky to generalise. So to keep things simple, I'm going to use this room in the roof as my example. This space was rendered by the VELUX design studio team. Send them your drawings and their design advisors will build a 3D model of your loft and show you what the light will actually do before you commit to anything. The space is tall enough to convert without a dormer, and it lets us talk about privacy, overlooking, ventilation and fire escape windows as part of one design. But I want to start with natural light because the building regulations set minimum and maximum amounts, and it varies depending on which part of the UK you are in. The regulations are separate and different from the planning system. Think of them like your car tax and your car insurance. They don't cover the same things, but you need them both. Neither system outranks the other, and both can stop a loft conversion. But let's start with the building regulations. In England, the regs set no minimum amount of natural light in a habitable room. They ask for ventilation and escape, but not daylight. Now that bothers me. The window in an English loft bedroom is there for escape and fresh air, but natural light is treated as an afterthought. Scotland does it differently. The Scottish regulations set a minimum glazing area of 1/15 the floor area. So if you create a 15 square metre bedroom in Scotland, it must have at least 1 square metre of glass. Neither country sets a maximum per room, but they do set a maximum per dwelling. If your house already has lots of glazing, new roof windows could tip the balance for the entire building. A dwelling in the UK should have no more than 25% glass relative to its floor area. So a 100 square metre house should not have more than 25 square metres of glazing. This can catch out owners of Georgian homes with tall sash and case windows and modern houses from the 1960s and 70s. And if your home already has a glass extension, a loft conversion might push the whole building beyond the limit. Conservatories don't count because they're separated from the house by a door. The whole house is judged together, not the loft on its own. Now, it is possible to go beyond 25% using something called a compensatory heat loss calculation. In simple terms, you add more insulation to the walls, floor and roof to offset the heat lost through the windows. But this can be complex, expensive and not always feasible in older buildings. The short answer is to speak to a local architect before you plan lots of new windows in your roof. Privacy and overlooking. Overlooking is a common reason planning applications are refused. When a planning officer says a window creates overlooking, they mean it gives a direct view into a neighbouring garden, living room or bedroom that was not overlooked before. Planners use the phrase reasonable expectation of privacy. A loft conversion in a mid-terrace street might sail through because the gardens are already overlooked and one more window changes little. But if you own a detached house in a leafy suburb with secluded rear gardens, that new roof window might look straight into next door, and that could sink the application. That part is easy to understand, but privacy works both ways, and this is the bit that catches people out. Say you own a bungalow next to a 3-storey house. Convert your loft into a bedroom, and your neighbours may now be able to look down into it. Planning officers aren't just protecting your neighbour's privacy, they're also judging the quality of the new room in your home. It's no use arguing that it's your house and you don't care about being overlooked. The planning system isn't disputing ownership, it recognises that your home will probably outlive you. You might sell it, rent it, or leave it to someone in your will. If the room is overlooked as designed, a future occupant can't use it with a basic standard of comfort, and that alone can justify a refusal. There are ways to design around this. The classic move is to place the roof window so far up the roof that occupants can't see out. That protects the neighbour's privacy, and you can specify VELUX roof windows with built-in blinds and opening mechanisms, so you can keep control of shade and fresh air. I've never had the opportunity to specify one of these VELUX roof balcony models. The window opens outwards and turns a patch of sloping roof into a small balcony with a view. I think these are brilliant. They start at just over £3,000 plus VAT and installation. But if you are hoping to use permitted development to approve one, be careful. The rules vary across the UK and depend on the type of property you own, so always check with the local planning department first. Most of my work is in built-up parts of Edinburgh, where a balcony in the roof would look straight onto somebody's garden. If you have one of these in your home, tell me about it in the comments. I want to know if they are as good to live with as they look. One more thing before we move on, placing every window high up in the roof is not ideal because airflow suffers, and these VELUX Design Studio images show top light alone creates too much contrast between bright and dark. Windows placed high up on the roof slope might satisfy the planner's privacy concerns, but the building regulations also require a loft conversion to be safe in a fire, with windows low enough to escape from, and in some cases it may be impossible to comply with both. Fire escape windows. Every habitable room in a loft conversion must have a means of escape in the event of a fire. This is a building regulation, and it catches people out because who plans a bedroom around leaving it through the roof? If your new room in the roof sits less than 4.5 metres above the ground outside, it must have an escape window. To qualify, the window must have a sill no more than 1.1 metres above the floor. Think of it as the back door of your loft, big enough to climb through, low enough to reach. VELUX roof balcony sills sit higher than 1.1 metres, so it cannot be your escape window. In practice, the 4.5 metre rule mainly applies to bungalows. If you convert the loft of a two-storey house, the new floor will be higher than that, and jumping from there is too dangerous to count as a escape. So a house of 2 storeys or more needs a protected stairwell instead. That means every door off the hall and stairs must be self-closing and fire rated, not just the doors in the new room. A room on the roof can change every door in your hallway. In some circumstances, sprinklers let you avoid this. England and Scotland treat sprinklers differently, so get advice from a local architect as early as possible. And in my experience, sprinklers cost more than self-closing fire doors. But if you want stairs in an open-plan living space, they are the only option. And if you do install escape windows, that 1.1 metre sill height creates a design challenge of its own. It often pushes windows down the slope towards the eaves, sometimes into little alcoves like these. Forming the alcoves adds costs and eats into storage, but you can also turn them into a feature, one either side of the bed, for example. Balancing escape windows against privacy and overlooking can be a difficult act, but a low roof window doesn't just give you a way out in a fire, it's also a great spot for airflow, and that matters more than most people realise. Ventilation. A loft room will overheat faster than any other room in the house. Heat rises through the building, and the room under the roof also absorbs the sun's warmth directly through the slates. The building regulations in England and Scotland both require adequate ventilation in habitable rooms, with different standards in each country. Both distinguish between 2 types of ventilation. Background ventilation is the constant, low-volume exchange of air that removes moisture and CO2. Rapid ventilation is the ability to throw open a window and purge the heat on a warm day. Background ventilation, sometimes called trickle ventilation, is built into these VELUX roof windows. You can open or close it with the handle without opening the window itself. The minimum amount depends on what the room is for. Bedrooms, bathrooms and kitchens all have different requirements, and one roof window on its own may not be enough, so check at the design stage. The regulations also measure how much ventilation a window provides by how far it opens. A window that opens less than 30 degrees only counts for half as much as one that opens further. And any manually controlled window you rely on needs an accessible handle, no more than 1.7 metres above the floor. VELUX make roof windows with the opening mechanism on the lower sill. The window can sit high on the slope while the handle stays within the 1.7 metre rule, a specification detail worth confirming before you order. If you need ventilation higher still, automatic roof windows like these are a great addition. They open at a set air temperature using climate sensors, and the app close when they detect rain and run on a timer. The blinds can do the same to help control heat. For a loft bedroom, an automatic roof window is not a luxury. It is a reliable way to stop the room becoming unusable in warm weather. Now, I'm filming this in the middle of another heat wave. This type of weather is becoming more common in the UK. Our older homes were never designed to cope with this, and creating a room on the roof can go wrong if ventilation isn't considered right at the outset. Converting the loft to a 100-year-old home without thinking about ventilation, and you can end up building a furnace on the top floor. The fix is cross ventilation. Place one roof window close to the floor on one side of the room and another high up on the slope on the other. The air flows across the space. Put the low window on the sunny side and the high window on the cooler, shaded side. Warm air rises out of the room and the loft stays livable. A loft conversion is one of the most cost-effective ways to add a room to a UK home, but the windows carry more rules than any other part of the job. daylight, overlooking, privacy, fire escape, and ventilation. Address them at the start and planning and building control become predictable. Leave them until later and you are redrawing designs you have already paid for. My name is Neil and this is Real Life Architecture. This video was made in partnership with VELUX. From automatic openers to balconies in the roof, their website shows what modern roof windows can do. It is well worth a browse before you brief your architect. There's a link in the description.